Welcome to We Need to Talk. I am your host, Tony Lindsay, and we have another amazing panel for you guys today. And as you saw, the title of this episode is I Am Delivered. And we got some people who are delivered from the Democrat Party. Now, uh, I wanted to put this together because in a lot of the discourse that I've been having on social media, especially in my live panels, I've been getting a lot of people who have been expressing a conflict, like a certain inner conflict that they've been feeling when it came down to their participation and their role as Democrats. And I created a space. Like what I aim to do is create a space where we can all just engage in honest dialogue and share our perspectives in order to find some type of a common ground and understanding. Because there's been a lot of confusion with all of the division and all of the hostility in the current discourse. So what I wanted to do was to create uh, a panel, and we're going to do this every Tuesday. All right. I'm going to give you guys the information on how to join these panels. I want people who have had their awakening or their red pill moment, so to speak. I want them to come up here and share their stories because there are a lot of folks out there just like you who can sense that something's wrong. They feel like something is wrong, but sometimes they don't know who to talk to. They're afraid to speak up and just say something just ain't right. So I'm creating this segment of the show just so you guys can be heard. And when you listen to the perspectives, you listen to the voices of these people, you might just see a little bit of a reflection for yourself of yourself. So I want to just take this time now to introduce to you guys my panel. We have some amazing people with us today. We got Boricua Mafia One. That's his I guess his username on TikTok. We got 757 Bay for all of y'all who know her. She's always in our live. Well, actually, they're always in our live communities. We're all together in our little TikTok community, but we've expanded out to Rumble, X, YouTube, and other areas. And also, we have Crystal Beyond Labels. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good. Thank you for
Beautiful.
having me.
All right. Well, as you guys know, you know the topic of the show, and uh, before we get started, maybe just say a little bit something about yourself, just so people know who you are, what you're about, how you even got introduced to politics, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we can start there without going into like the in depth yet. We'll start with you, Crystal.
Hey everyone, my name is Crystal, and I am the founder of Crystal Beyond Labels, which is all about living beyond the labels of what the world says and being who God tells you to be. I have always had a political bug inside of me. I think from since I was young, I was involved in the debate team and everything else in between. But let's just say, in the last few years, I've had an awakening. That's the best way to say it.
Okay. Okay. How do I pull this thing down? Sorry. Yeah. Okay. 757.
Hello, everyone. I've been familiar with politics, but I've just started to take a deep dive probably the last 2 or 3 years, and I just simply became tired of the same old thing over and over again. So this is what has led me to this point right now where I am.
All right. Boricua. Oh, let me turn on your mic. There you go.
All right, I'm new to the whole political thing. Like I came on Tony's lives and basically educated myself through his lives and doing research. So, like I said, I'm new to the whole political thing.
All right. All right. That's good. All right. So maybe I'll start a little bit with myself uh, to get into this conversation. Now, I'm a lifelong Democrat. You know, when I hit 18, when I was old enough to vote, my parents, they told me, Tony, you're a Democrat. I didn't know what a Democrat was. I didn't know what a Republican was. But the only thing I knew was that the Republicans were racist and that they were for rich people and they hated poor people. And so whenever I went to vote, my mom said, listen, just make sure that you just click you fill in Democrat all down the line, no matter what it is. And that's basically the way that I've been doing my politics. I was doing my politics like that for most of my life. As I got a little older, I started to pay a little bit more attention. And around, actually, I started to notice that something didn't feel right after probably one of the most significant moments in my life politically, when Barack Obama was elected. Now, when Barack Obama was elected, I voted for the man both times. But when he was first elected, I think that's probably the first time I ever cried out of happiness. And I'm saying, as a black man, like, we all went outside, we were hugging each other, everybody was just celebrating, and it's like we just felt like racism in America was over. It was a whole new thing. It was a whole new world. And if you guys remember, that was on the heels of the crash of 2007, 2008, the housing crisis, the subprime lending mortgage situation that happened. And so he had a big task ahead of him on fixing the economy. But I was a real estate investor during that time. So I was very much a part of, I was more politically savvy, and I was more in a position to, I guess, identify the results of certain decisions that are made from the top down. And I remember during the housing market crisis, I remember when Barack Obama, he pretty much bailed out the banks, but he still allowed uh, a lot of those homes to still be foreclosed on. And the people who were engaging in clear illegal activity that led to the crisis, no one was prosecuted. I remember, what's the guy's name? Is it Steve Mnuchin? He was, yeah, I remember no one prosecuted anybody. No one was held accountable. And even though the banks were bailed out, they still snatched away like 50% of Black wealth. And that was devastating for the Black community. But I'm like, listen, I know the man had opposition, Republicans, this, that, Republicans evil. But as as things went on, I just started to notice that I kind of felt like he wasn't really paying attention to the concerns that I had politically, especially, and things just didn't seem to match up. But anyway, the real change came when Bernie Sanders came on the scene, and he delivered a populist message that I very much related to, especially as it related to Medicare for all and all of that stuff, because my mother was going through certain health crises at that time. But anyway, when I saw how the Democratic Party treated Bernie Sanders, and I saw the blatant cheating that was going on, when I saw how they rigged the election against him and they were unapologetic in doing so, when I saw the propaganda that was pushed against me as a supporter of Bernie Sanders, when I saw all of the bots, like the troll farms that they were sending out, I was like, wait, this ain't right, especially not coming from the Democratic Party. So, it caused me to look deeper and do more research into policy. And that's what led to my awakening, so to speak. And so I just came to realize, that was my red pill moment, when I came to realize that the party that I always thought cared about, people in general, but especially Black people, because, as a Black person, Democrats, they everything is about race. With the Democrats, they're supposed to be allies to the Black community. But the things that I was seeing, coupled with a lot of the politics that I see in my local community, it just wasn't matching up. And so I started to think more critically. I started to pay more attention to policy, which put me in a position where I was able to pull the emotion out of it, which the Democratic Party is very good at brokering in, and start to look at the hard data and the facts. And that's what led me to decide. And let me make this clear. I was falling for a lot of the manipulation. In fact, I voted for Joe Biden in 2020. I sure did. And I think I did it because of the fatigue. It was all the fatigue from the media telling me 24/7 that Donald Trump was like a Hitlerian figure, and he was a racist, and he's dangerous, and he's all of this. But I think, and I knew that there were a lot of lies, right? I knew that, but I was just so tired of it, and I just said, you know what? Let me just vote for Joe Biden, and maybe we can get back to civility. And that's when everything went crazy and everything just became a shit show. So no more am I invested in feelings. I don't care about anyone's personality or how brash they may be. The only thing I care about at this point is the economy, certain social issues that affect me and my community. And it's just that I've realized that Black people tend to be more conservative ideologically, even though they vote 90% with liberals every election. And to me, it just said indoctrination and brainwashing. And so I just wanted to let people know, like, this is what it is. And when I say I'm supporting Donald Trump, I know he can be a jackass at times. I know he can engage in a lot of hyperbole. But at the end of the day, what matters to me is the results. That's what matters to me. And I think we're headed in a very dangerous direction with Kamala Harris specifically, especially after witnessing what we've seen in this administration, which she is a partner in. And I just will encourage people to just get out of their feelings and start to look at the facts and be more objective. And with that, I'll just hand the panel over. I'll just first I'll let me ask you, 757. What
Yeah,
was your red pill moment? I mean, you are now supporting Donald Trump. Am I correct in that assumption?
correct. My red pill moment was the pandering to the Black community, and for them to feel like they could pander to us in such a minute way of just presenting superstars, rappers. They felt like that was enough to get our attention, and I think that a lot of us have waken up and realized, billionaires don't speak for us. I think we're the wheel that keeps the world turning, and I feel like they haven't paid much attention to us over the last few years. So that was really my red pill moment.
Okay. Uh, what about you, Crystal? Let me go with Crystal first.
It's funny because I grew up in a house where, so just like I'm a New Yorker, born and raised in Queens, like Donald Trump, right?
Okay.
And I grew up in a house with, um, my grandfather was an independent. The rest of everybody was Democrat, and my dad was the lone Republican. And I used to think he was just being an antagonist. I'm like, you just picked that party just to get on people's nerves because clearly the Democrat Party is the way you're supposed to go. Like,
Right.
what are you doing? And for years I would watch that, and I remember he would always tell me, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. As I've shared before, for some people that's on the channel, I even went as far as working for liberal organizations, nonprofits, and standing with them. And I think that experience helped me to see behind the scenes that politicians are really dirty, very very dirty. And I
Mhm.
think in that moment I started having an awakening in that moment. And my dad, love him so much, my mother, love her so much, because even though she was a Democrat, she would always tell me, Crystal, I don't. Your grandfather used to vote. He would pray and ask God to guide him on who to vote for. That was why he was an independent. He didn't say I belong to this one or I belong to that one, because it's whoever aligns closer with your beliefs. And I said okay. And as time went on, my red pill moment was when my dad was like, I was telling him, no, Trump is a racist because Trump said that the Charlottesville episode, that the trip. Oh wait, we're on
No,
Rumble
no,
Space
we
Stage.
can speak
We
freely.
can
We're on
say we can
Rumble.
speak freely. Yes.
Yeah, we don't have to censor ourselves. Go ahead.
I was like, he said the KKK were good people. I was like, I was like, what kind of person is that? He was like, Crystal, did you watch the whole thing? I said, I saw it on the news, and they're not gonna lie to me. And he was like, I need you to go watch it for the entire thing. And I finally took my time and I went and I watched it. And I was like, wait a minute, he didn't say that.
Right.
And in that moment, it was a lot of, okay, because I get hyper focused on a lot of things, I decided, you know what, let me go check these things out. Let me see what else they said he said that he didn't say. And that was the beginning of my red pill awakening.
All right. All right. Well, Boricua, I met Boricua. We met on them TikTok streets, right? I think when we first met in there, it might have been kind of like as adversaries a little bit. Like he wasn't
Correct.
feeling the things that I was saying. You remember?
Oh, yeah, 100% correct. I was in the chat, and I was one of the
Yeah.
people that was typing hateful messages and this and that. Never disrespectful to you, but towards Donald Trump, I was just,
Right, right, right. And why? Why was that? Like why are you so hostile towards Donald Trump?
because I was one of the people that was manipulated by the news and other chats that had everything negative to say about Donald Trump. I'm gonna explain my whole story to you. All right,
Right.
I'm gonna be 55 in December, and I'm gonna be a first time voter. I've never voted in my life, never registered to vote, any of that.
All right.
You know, I went to the military straight out of high school, and I was in the military for 6 years, and then I got out, and then 3 years later, I'm in a federal prison for 17 years for marijuana charges, and so when
Damn.
I got out, you know, I'm I'm still doing whatever I'm doing and this and that, but I was living in the land of the lost, right? But I was okay with it because I was surviving. I was doing good, you know what I mean? So
Right.
I really didn't I paid no attention to politics. You know, I never thought that my vote would matter and this and that. So, I I, I started coming on TikTok. And at first I was looking at all the dancing videos and this and that. So then a lot of the lives would be political lives. So then I would come on and then and I would go to both Democratic, Democratic and Republican. And you know, at first it was the Democrats, and they was like, "Oh, Donald Trump's this, he's this, and this," and I was like, "Yeah, he's this and this and this." So then when I would go on the Republican, and I would see somebody like you, what I'm saying, I'm like, "Man, how are you supporting this guy, man? He's a felon, this and that." But then you know what? I started listening. You know what I mean? And then I
Right.
said, you know what? This guy's from New York. He's from the hood. He's from the inner city like me. I said, so if he can support this guy, let me listen and maybe see if I can understand why. You know what I mean? So then I'm listening to you and this and that. So then I started paying attention to the things that the people in the Republican lives said and the people in the Democratic lives said. And I started to see that, okay, one spewing nothing but hate and this and that. And the other one is talking about how America's trying to come together, trying to fix things, get the economy back right, and this and that. But now, I'm a business owner. I own 7 rental properties, two
Oh.
two small apartment complexes, 3 duplex, and 2 single family homes, right? And I'm like, damn, I got something that needs to be protected. So, to make a long story short, I started listening to your lives, Tony, and this and that, and everything that you said, and everything that the panel that you would have up, everything was educational, right? So I would start listening to the lives, but then I would slide over and I start when I hear you say something, I go to Google and I research it. And I'm like, okay, I'm starting to understand everything better. So then I started looking at Donald Trump as a person, right? So I had to look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, damn, here I am like, how you support this guy? He's a felon. He's a convict, but I'm a felon.
Ah,
I did
right.
17 years in prison. I'm no better. Matter of fact, I'm worse than this guy. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, damn, how can I, and then, with, they say, oh, well, he cheated on his wife and this and that. Well, I was married before and hey, I cheated. You know what I'm saying? I'm a better man now for it and this and that. But I mean, how can I condemn this man for doing things that I've done worse? You know what I mean? And then, and then I looked at it and I said, you know what? I'm going to be real about it. And I'm not going to sit here and say I can stand behind him for a lot of the things that he says, but I can stand behind him for the things he believes in. And that's making America better for the people that live in America. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, damn. So I said, man, I got to support this guy because he's supporting me.
Right. That makes sense. That makes sense. And I do notice, like, yeah, you're very much interested in the facts, and that's something
Right.
that I like, because sometimes I'll just get a random inbox from Boricua. He'll be asking me like, "Yo, what do you think about this?" And then we'll just exchange information. He looks it up, and I wish more people would develop that type of an attitude when it came to their
Came
politics.
into it blind, Tony. I came into it blind. I like I said, I didn't even know what the word policy meant. I mean, I had to go Google what is policy. You know what I'm saying? And so then I was saying, okay, a course of actions, and this and that to better situations that we in. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I started from the bottom, man, and I just started researching everything. You know what I'm saying? I hear somebody say something, I go research
That's right. That's how you're supposed to do it, right? Wouldn't it
it.
be amazing if everybody else did that and they just got out of their feelings?
Yeah,
Because it's like I notice every time I try to speak to someone, it's like the moment you don't even have to say that you're going to vote for Trump, or you don't even have to defend Trump. All you really have to do is just offer even the slightest bit of criticism of the Democrats, and they're coming for your throat. And I don't think people realize the type of environment that they're creating, because it's shutting down conversations and it's turning people away from you. People are not going to want to. It's almost like you're trying to bully people into voting for Kamala Harris, or you're trying to shame people into just falling in line. And I see a lot of attacks on men, especially black men. People who are not going to support the Democrat Party. I see people like talking about them like they're uninformed voters. You have the Roland Martins, the DL Hugleys out there, just being so disrespectful to their own community in service to the Democratic Party. And it's sad, because I think if you look at a lot of the policies that in Democrat cities, like here in New York City where I live, you see that they're destroying the middle class. It's like the middle class doesn't even exist anymore. It's like a clear play for a two-class system, the rich and the poor. And and that's it. It's like that's all they're trying to create.
I agree with you, Tony. And when you say about, I always smile because I see the hate that a lot of black men get for not supporting her. And I think I told you before, and I think it's equivalent or maybe worse for black women, because when the first time I said that I was not supporting her, I joined the I am not with her movement. The ugly comments that come along
Woo.
with
Mm.
the comments, so ugly, and I'm like, I don't understand. I'm like, if you're paying attention to what initially, let's talk about how in the very beginning, the entire time she was running, she hadn't put a policy up. And everyone was standing and defending her. And I was like, but she doesn't even have a policy. What are y'all defending? She hasn't even said what she's doing, but you're blindly supporting her. I was like, that's so dangerous. I was like, where's the research? Where is the facts? And that's why I told you, for me, 2024, and for all my Christians in the comments, this was what happened to me. In 2024, I asked God to give me wisdom, open up my spiritual eyes, ears, give me wisdom and discernment. And in that, I got to see how ugly the Democrat Party is. I saw how, just watching what they did to Joe Biden and
Yeah.
the whole coup, and then to turn around as Kamala was one of the most hated VPs, the lowest rating, and then it turned around and she was the greatest thing, the second coming. She's the smartest thing. And I'm like, am I missing something? Watching that in the media and then hearing people like Joy Reid, who said, as a black person, if you don't support her, then you're just weird. You're just weird and you're on the wrong side of history. Those type of things. I was like, okay, thank you, God. I'm seeing exactly what I need to see. And this party is not for me. I don't want to live in oppression. I don't want to live in bondage. I don't want to feel like I have to vote for this, even though I know voting for them is not helping in any form or fashion. And that was why I said, nope, I am all the way supporting Donald Trump. No matter if people like it or not, I have to do what's best.
Right.
Exactly what Zero to Failure said. They think we're stupid, and we're not. We're actually the researched ones. We're the ones
Yes.
that do all the research and find everything else.
Well, you
Yes.
know what, Crystal, since the Voting Rights Act in 1965, that's when black people were really able, black men and women were able to vote, right? And since then, it's been made to seem like there's a debt because of the Voting Rights Act. And the debt has to be paid, and we are indebted to the Democratic Party for those rights.
Yeah.
So and it's we're reminded of it every election year that we owe this debt.
See, and that's the thing. Like I would ask Bodico, do you ever talk to anybody like I don't know, like like any of your people, and have you told anybody that you supporting Trump and you had like some hostility towards you at all?
No, not at all. We don't. We've never talked about politics. I never knew who my dad voted for, if he ever voted. My brother, you know, I got a brother and a sister that's still alive. Um, I don't think they vote, and they're both like my brother. He's an air traffic controller.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I've told my sister she has her own business and this and that, but I don't think they vote. So we never have those type of discussions. That's another reason why I say I was new to this whole thing because I've never been around it.
Mm.
And
But I just
you need
remember I do remember like the Democratic Party, this and that. Like it always seemed, and I see now what it is the whole the they're into like the entertainment stuff. Like Bill Clinton, right? I've always thought that everybody looked at him was like he was the greatest president. He was on the Arsenio Hall show playing the saxophone or the trumpet, whatever it was, this and that. But then when I'm in prison, I'm like, damn, that crime bill he put together got a lot of these dudes in here doing a whole lot of time with.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. The private prison industry
And it's
exploded
big. And
under
it's
Bill
big.
Clinton.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's one of the elements that led to, the boom, that surplus. Remember how we talk about how he had such a great economy, and how like the jobs numbers were so great for him. See, a lot of people didn't realize that whenever you pull so many black men out of the population and put them in the prison, uh, industrial complex, it changes the numbers. It changes those stats when it comes to employment because you have a lot less people who are actually participating in that. And also, with the crime bill, and he did benefit from the internet boom. Like everybody's forgetting about that, the .com era. So, but I think the main issue that I just see is that we seem to always have this blind allegiance to the Democratic Party while they don't really offer us anything. And for me, that's what led to my awakening, because just all the stuff I said. And here's the thing, I used to always say this because I had Trump derangement syndrome. I had it even when I was criticizing the hell out of Democrats. Even when I was pissed off at Democrats, I would say things like, yeah, but I ain't no Trump supporter, but you always got to put that disclaimer on it, right? And then after a while, I was like, why do I have to keep saying that? It's like, am I being bullied? Like, what's so bad? So I said, let me look. Let me just look. Then I started to look at the jobs numbers. You know what I'm saying? I started to look at the state of the economy. I started to look at all the issues that people were saying. And I was especially looking at all the accusations, because those accusations are what led to me having this severe TDS, this severe Trump derangement syndrome. And I just got tired of always having to explain myself or put this disclaimer before defending the truth, right? People look at it as me defending Donald Trump. No, I defend the truth. That's what I promote. You got to be honest. And so if we're going to be honest, we got to say that this media apparatus in this country is pure propaganda. And they have been lying to us for years. I mean, even just to see, even things that had nothing to do with Donald Trump, like the cognitive state of the current commander in chief. They gaslit us. They lied to us for 4 years, telling us that that man was as sharp as he's ever been.
Hmm.
Like, come on, bro. I mean, it, how do you? I mean, that in itself, right? It should be an indictment of today's so-called journalism. That in itself, it should show you that they're all coming together as teleprompters or as stenographers for the state. They're lying to you. So if we know they've been lying to us like this, isn't it possible that there's an agenda? Isn't it possible that some of the things that they're saying about Donald Trump are not true? And when I really and but what and I heard someone say it, like they were like, I didn't leave the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left me. And I feel exactly that way because it's no longer the party that I thought it used to be. You know, even the traditional Democrat, they don't represent the same things anymore. Like the Democratic Party of today is definitely the party of the elite. This is the billionaire party. They used to always say that about the Republicans, but the Democrats, they are the party of the elite. They are the party of war. I mean, if you remember, even during the campaign trail, they were always criticizing Donald Trump in a pro-war, from a pro-war position. And I remember, listen, there were no new wars under Donald Trump. That's
Right.
just the facts. But
Hmm.
I remember when Joe Biden won, I was like, damn, this is going to be a war. And that's why I felt even worse that I voted for him.
Yep. There it
But
was.
even besides the new war, I said to myself, and you know what? And I posted this on my Facebook, and I was like, you know what? Get ready for at least a whole 2 to 3 years of firsts,
Mhm.
because the Democrats are real good at giving you firsts. They're good at giving you symbolic, empty symbolism, symbolic victories to keep you satiated while they ignore you in every other area that counts. And so it's like you can't keep playing in my face like that and thinking that
Right.
I'm stupid. So I got tired of it. And I just wish more black people would get tired of the redundancy of what we're going through. You know, I don't want to like
Yeah.
filibuster, because if you guys go ahead, say something.
Most of us were taught if you vote Republican, you're voting for racism. Growing up, you had to vote Democrat. Like I said, it was instilled in us that we pretty much owed a debt to the Democratic Party because they gave us our voting rights, in 1965. However, the indoctrination was really heavy, from our families and also the church as well. We would have politicians every election year come by the church, and if it pretty much what Joe Biden said, if you ain't black,
Oh, he said if you don't
Vote,
know if
if
you
you
want
don't
to
vote
vote
for
vote
for
me,
me,
you
Democrat,
ain't
you
black.
ain't
you
black.
ain't black.
Yeah, if you vote
Mhm.
Democrat, you ain't black. So it's pretty much what they were telling us when they had these politicians up in the pulpits at churches. And this is basically what our family is telling us. And we never did the homework. I never did the homework myself. I trusted what my elders told me and I ran with it. And I am grateful that I got hired on my own. I saw the same repetitiveness from the Democratic Party. It was a bunch of promises. And once, it's like we were made a priority during election season, but after they were
Right.
installed, they forgot all about us. So
Yes. Yes.
I was tired of it. So
I
that's
agree with
what,
you on that. So,
yeah. And I'm like you, Tony. Yeah,
with you.
when Barack Obama won in 2008 and 2012, man, we thought there was some. We just knew racism was over with. We knew everyone was going to be able to come together because there were both people of every race and that voted for him. So we just knew that things were going to get done for the black community. And when that didn't happen, I was like, wait a minute, what is going on here? And that's when I started gradually waking up and start to do some research.
Right.
I have to agree with you on that because that was the one thing I said this year. I was like, you have as black people, we really have to get tired of getting the breadcrumbs. And I'm gonna say getting the breadcrumbs because exactly what you said, they show up, they bring an artist. I always call it the
Oh,
seven mountains of influence. They bring an artist, or they come into the church and
yeah.
they come in and clap their hands with you ever so often. Then when it comes time and it's almost time to vote again because they haven't done anything, they said, you know what, like what happened now. Joe Biden and them decide let's throw a Juneteenth party on the White House lawn, and black people like yes, and I'm like no, they didn't pass
Right.
anything for us. What are y'all
Yeah.
doing?
And then
Or
yeah.
50
Right.
years of hip hop was
Yeah.
celebrated at the White House. Yay! And I'm
Mm.
like, no, we need more than that because exactly what you said. When Obama was in office, we were like, okay, something big is about to happen. Let's go. And no, the person who actually did stuff within the black community would be Trump, which is
Trump. Right.
crazy. Everybody's fighting against him, but he's the one that actually went and did stuff within our community. So it's like, you got
Go
to
ahead,
get tired of
Borico.
breadcrumbs.
Go
No,
Yeah.
ahead,
I,
Borico.
They
I
put,
was saying that it's crazy because uh, back in the days, Trump is probably his Trump's name is probably the most non-rap figure mentioned in rap songs growing up. You know what I mean? So everybody, that's what I don't understand. A lot of everybody like he was like the person that people wanted to become. You know what I mean?
Facts.
And
That's true.
now everybody's like, oh, like he's a racist and this and that. And I thought the same thing, but like I can't like I was on your live and you was like, okay, listen to the whole clip, like the clip Crystal was talking about with the white supremacists and they were good people, this and that, and then like with the whole Puerto Rican thing. And I'm from Puerto Rico. I was and so I was on PR Conservative Live, and oh man, I despised that guy at first. You know what I mean? Because I was like, man, how you support Trump? He disrespected the Puerto Ricans and this and that. And then he invited me up to his live. We had a conversation. He said, man, this. He said, research this, and he gave me some information. I went and checked it out. That it was the governor. Trump don't, he sent a big package, a rescue package, but it was the
Yeah.
governor that misused it, the Puerto Rican governor. And I was like, damn. And so I started going on PR's live the same way as yours, and we started talking. He started giving me information, this and that, and I love that. That dude's like a brother now. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
yeah.
Research, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you hear what he said? That dude is like a brother to me. And this is the funny thing, because I heard someone talking about it today. I think it was in my live or in a live that I was in today, the discussion. It was a black woman too. She was like, you know, I never felt so much welcoming and love as when I went to, I think she said it was either a Trump rally or she went to like to go speak to Republicans and conservatives. She said like even the way that Democrats treat each other, it's so hostile and angry. But she said like she went as a Democrat, as a liberal, and she said they embraced her, like they wanted to talk to her. And I gotta be honest, you know what I'm saying? I'm completely independent. And it's sad because I'm so critical of Democrats. People just assume, oh, you're a Republican or you're a Trumper or you're this and that. No, I've been like this before I decided I was gonna vote for Donald Trump. But what I've noticed is when you talk to people on the left, the so-called left, and talk to people on the so-called right, it's a stark difference to me, in the way that they embrace you and they're willing to talk to you. Somebody said to me the other day, they were like, yo, Tony, if you ever want to see what it's really like, go to a Trump rally. I was like, well, I don't know if I'm there yet. But they were just like, go to a Trump rally and you see it. But I can believe it. I can see it because I have received zero hostility from any conservatives, any Republicans that I've spoken to in any of my lives. And I'm speaking as I am being critical of them, because I'm not just critical of Democrats. It's just that when I'm critical of Democrats, that's when I get the 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 flood of attacks that just don't stop. And it's always punishment for disagreeing. It's not counter argument. It's always an attack. You must be punished. You must be silenced. And that's dangerous. That's extremely dangerous.
You know what? You say that, Tony, and I laugh because before I officially said I'm supporting Donald Trump, I said I'm independent. I want to hear both sides. So I put on my TikTok and I put on my Instagram and YouTube, actually. I said, report card, Kamala Harris report card, Donald Trump report card. I said, this is a very real question. I'm not being facetious. Please let me know why I should support Donald Trump, or please let me know why I should support Kamala Harris. Please list some of their accomplishments, things that they've done, and in the last 3 years, in their decade, whatever, in their professional history. When you look, I the comments that I got under the one for Kamala Harris, it was like, "What is wrong with you? Are you stupid? Go look it up. Go do something. Why
Oh
are you
man.
asking that question? You should know better. She's a black woman. Why are you?" And it was constant hate. And why don't you research for yourself and blah. But then on the Trump side, they were like, "Oh, okay. Well, Trump, he actually had a surplus for us when it came to oil." And they started just listing facts. And they're like, "Here's a link. You can check this out." And they're like, "Anything else you need to know, we're happy to help." And I'm sitting here and I'm like, "Do y'all see the difference?" And I ended up doing a live on my YouTube. I was like, "Do y'all see the difference? This is the difference." Because what is the hostility? If there are voters out here who are independent and don't know any better, what is wrong with you educating them? Why do you have to be so hostile on the Democrat side? While on the Trump side, they were all welcoming. And since I've been on that side, they've been welcoming me. Listen, when people come in my comments and talk crazy to me as a Trump supporter, those Trump supporters swoop in like
Yeah, yeah,
eagles
yeah.
and hawks, and they're like, don't talk to her like that. And I love it. The love is real.
But Crystal, to me, the Democratic Party, the only thing they've offered to black people is shame and fear mongering for anyone that does not vote Democrat. No legislation and no policy, no nothing.
Very true.
Yeah.
Just
That's
get
so
empty
crazy.
promises every time.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's so crazy. The people who always come in confident too to challenge me and tell me what a sellout and a traitor I am, and you're supporting a racist and this and that. They can never articulate their argument. And that's actually, I used to laugh. I used to say, yeah, you want to break the brain of a Democrat, ask them to explain their position. Because usually all they want to do is just insult you. Ad hominem attacks. That's what they broker in. But when I think about it, it's actually quite tragic. The
It
fact that
is.
people are so invested in this dogma, this rabid vitriolic behavior towards people who don't agree with them, when a lot of times you guys don't even understand the opinion that you have was given to you. You don't even understand why you believe the things that you believe. And that's why
Exactly.
I always try to create an environment where even if you don't know what the hell you're talking about, I still want to engage with you, because there's a possibility that if I give you just enough information, you can discover, you can kind of discover it for yourself, right? So you because a lot of people are very egotistical. They don't like correction. And that's another thing I see with this political environment. It tells everyone that they know everything. You are the professor, the master of everything, and your truth is the only thing that matters. That's how you create these bubbles, these echo chambers. But what I try to do is I'll even try to play through that. I'll give you the information logically and hope you can come to that conclusion. But I just think as long as we play into that negativity and the divisiveness, we're never really going to see a change. But at the end of the day, all of us ain't going to make it. And I understand that. We're not all going to make it. But I will still have those conversations because at the end of the day, there's always somebody watching that can learn from it. Go ahead, Boricua.
Yeah, there's
Go ahead.
always a me and there's always a me in the room. You know what I mean?
Oh, right. Yes. Yes.
Amen.
Yes. There's always a you in there. Facts. There's always
Right.
some. Good point.
I came in, like I said, I came in hostile. You treated me with respect. You talked to me respectfully. But at the end of the day, you opened my eyes to a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? Things that I was blind to. You know, and that's why I continue to come on the lives. I continue to sit at the bar, listen. You know what I mean? I'm not a very good speaker. You know what I'm saying? And this, and I hope I don't.
Great to
And
me.
I'm not embarrassing myself, this and that. But you know, I've never been too proud to say that I was wrong. I've never had too much pride to accept new information. You know what I mean? Shit, I'm down to learn every day. Shit, if you could teach
But
me
you
something
know
new,
what?
shit, I'm listening.
That's right.
But equal, and when Donald Trump ran in 2016, that's when the heavy fear campaign began. So everyone's emotions are so intense and high right now, right?
Right.
Because we were told that we were going to be put in chains. We
Mm-hmm.
were going to be sent back to Africa. I was like, wait a minute, I didn't come from Africa. I'm from here. How am I gonna be sit back somewhere I didn't come from? This is where I was born, you know. So they really smeared that fear campaign on heavy and thick. So that's why I understand when people come in hot because they're afraid. They don't understand, and and they're still the indoctrination is still very heavy, and they're hearing it every day. Even on black radio, they're still advertising Donald Trump's 2025 on
Oh
black
my
radio.
God.
Yes.
They
Yes.
got to stop that.
Right.
Listen,
They have a whole
Right.
commercial on TV for it now
Yeah.
too.
Every black
please,
radio station where I live, I
hold
hear
on.
it every time I cut on the radio.
But no, go to Kamala Harris's campaign website. She dedicated a whole section to Donald Trump's Project 2025. How is that not like defamation, like or
Right.
libel? Like,
Exactly.
how do you get away with that? Like,
Exactly. Exactly.
for the last time, folks, Project 2025 has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It is not his platform. Did we debunk that one yet? Or we didn't
We
get to we're gonna do that on the next Fact Check Friday,
I
right?
think we're supposed to do it the next Fact Check Friday.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and yeah, by the way, folks, every Friday at 8 p.m. Or are we going to change it to 7:30? But as it is now, every Friday at 8 p.m., we are doing Fact Check Fridays, where we are going to have maybe 3 to 5 different things that you've been hearing out here in the political discourse. We're going to do some fact checking to arm you with information. It can be fact checks on Donald Trump. It can be fact checks on Kamala Harris. But unfortunately, as we saw in that debate between Trump and Harris, we saw that there was only fact checking being done on Donald Trump, and some of those fact checks were incorrect. Now, I'm saying that not because I'm trying to defend Donald Trump. I'm saying that because I'm defending the truth.
Yep,
Well, it started off with her saying Trump's Project 2025.
it really did. It really did.
Yeah, that's where it started.
But it's
So
been widely debunked. Like, it's been debunked by the Heritage Foundation themselves.
yep,
Even in the mandate, there's mentions of Joe Biden. There's mentions of Donald Trump. Like, people don't even realize that the Heritage Foundation, they work with Barack Obama on
Yeah.
Obamacare. Like, bro, y'all don't know what. Ooh. I have patience most of the time, but sometimes it just gets so frustrating because it's no matter how much information you put out there, people come with the same lazy talking points. And that's
yeah.
why I believe after a certain amount of time, it's like I'm looking at you crazy now because it's like, hold on, you trying to deceive people. You're not trying to learn.
Intentionally, yeah.
You're doing this on purpose. And I feel really disappointed because I see a lot of gatekeepers out there, a lot of people who are supposed to be, in the civil rights community, people who are supposed to be speaking up, for people of color. And I see them lying to their communities. I see them giving them a lot of misguided information. And it's sad, and to see how hostile they are and how they talk to their communities in this arrogant air of condemnation. I mean, it's ridiculous. You see how DL Hughley was disrespecting Janet Jackson recently?
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Yep.
And,
Oh, just
to insult her appearance, that's as a black man, he should really be embarrassed about that.
First of all, DL Hughley got some nerve trying to diss somebody about the way they look, about their appearance.
seriously, especially the picture I saw him.
Yeah. But then the
you know,
crazy thing is this.
yeah.
You disrespecting this black woman who has been such an icon in the black community in service to what? The Democratic Party?
Exactly.
Like,
Well,
what?
to me, that just speaks of his ignorance. That's what people go for. They go for, below the belt insults when they have nothing else to say intelligently. So that's what I get from that conversation.
Yeah.
I agree with you because the minute you say that you don't support, no matter how wonderful you've been to the community, no matter, because again, we know Janet Jackson has been amazing within the community. The
Yes,
fact
yes.
that you will drag her because she doesn't, and that's the part that irritates me when they say Black people are not a monolith, but then you act like we are supposed to if we decide to think differently. Now all of a sudden it's a
Yep.
problem. Why is it a problem?
Good
We
point.
decided to use our brain and do the research and figure out the information. As a mother, as a woman who's had, I was about to say AB. Look at me. I'm so used to these words. I'm so used to these
Yeah.
words.
Yeah, don't
As
censor yourself. We're on Rumble and wherever else we're streaming. If they take it down, they take it down.
they
I'm
take it
tired of
down.
the censorship. I'm tired of
I
this.
agree.
And
But
guess
as
what?
someone,
Who's censoring you? The
the
Biden Harris
Democrat,
administration.
exactly. But as someone who has had an abortion twice, and it was because of health reasons both times,
Hmm.
what I realize is our community is. They always say the downfall of a society is when we stop reproducing, and the Democratic Party is pushing us to stop reproducing. When you have that bus at the DNC to make sure that people, not only were you stopping women, but you were making sure men stop reproducing. You are
Yeah, for
destroying
the people
our
who don't know what you're
society.
saying, outside of the DNC convention in the middle of Chicago, they had an abortion bus outside. Come get your free abortions. And they
Yeah,
also had
yeah.
a vasectomy bus. Come on down, Black people. Come get your abortions and your vasectomies. We don't need any more of you. This is the Democratic Party. This is what they market to you. They also market to you. How else do they market to you? Get your booties to the poll. Twerk on
Yes.
Washington. Get the Meg the Stallions. They reach out to you through your rappers, through all of these buffoons and comedians. But then when you have a rapper that actually comes with a plan called the Contract with Black America, and
Hmm.
he attempts to deliver that plan to both candidates who are running for the presidency of the United States, Republican and Democrat. I saw all the Black Boule gatekeepers, so-called civil rights leaders come out and tell that man, you need to shut up. Now is not the time. You need to, the democracy is on the line, even though we don't live in a freaking democracy and y'all don't know what the hell you're talking about. We live in
Not
a
at all.
republic. It's a
Hmm.
constitutional republic, but that's another story. But
Hmm.
and I remember when he came out with that contract for Black America, Donald Trump reached out to Ice Cube about it.
Yes. Yes, he did. Hmm.
Joe Biden and them was like, "Hey, they brushed him off. We'll get back to you after the election."
And
Hmm.
Still
never
never,
did.
And
never
they never
accomplished
did.
it since.
They
Never
never
did.
did. They never ever did. But what I was saying, Tony, with the abortion thing, what people don't realize, take for instance, the abortion pill. The side effects
Mm,
of the abortion pill
come on.
can have women in the emergency room, and they don't tell you the side effects, and they're pushing it. And people aren't understanding. People are ending up sick. We had someone die recently, and
I
as
forgot
much
her
as
name.
uh
I want.
Amber,
I wanted to reference that case because a lot of people, I think it's egregious how the Democrats are using that for political gain when it actually had nothing to do with the
nothing to do
quote
with it.
unquote Donald Trump abortion ban. That's so
No,
sick.
no. And the fact that she missed her appointment, they gave her an abortion pill, did not give her the, again, as someone who has been in that state, you're supposed to be monitored to a certain level when
Right.
you do these things.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not monitored, any kind of health risks can happen to you. So when you're giving it out at the DNC like it's a Skittle,
Mm.
you really don't care about the community that you say you
Wow.
care about, because you're giving it out like Skittles, and you're not even caring what's happening to these people. That
So
woman
true.
that woman died from septic poisoning. That's what happened to her.
Yes. Yes.
And that's because there was still tissue
Tissue.
from
Fetal the
inside of her
tissue
body.
inside of her, right.
Again, she took the pill and everything was not passed. That's because you're supposed to have, someone is supposed to monitor. So when people are sitting here and they're like, she's fighting for our rights, no, she's fighting to kill you, to be honest. She's fighting
Facts.
to harm you. She's
Facts.
fighting to destroy our society and remove us. And I hate when people, this is the ignorance, when people come back and say it's not the Planned Parenthood of Margaret Sanger. It is the same Planned Parenthood. where they were just trying to get rid of the black race. It's
That's
the
right.
same one, because they're still in our communities. They're still doing what they do. So when people say that and they're like, it's different now, it's a different party, it's a different this. No, it's not. It's the same
Lies.
thing.
Right.
Yes.
But Crystal, for them to conduct a procedure such as that in a tent, that speaks volumes about how they feel
Hmm.
about the people that are getting the procedures. And
Hmm.
that's all I'm going to say about that.
Right.
In a
Can
tent.
somebody in the chat, does anyone know the name of the young lady who passed away? I hate that I don't remember her name. It's we've been on so many stories, but I do want to do a story on that because I want to debunk that one as well. We really need to debunk that story.
Amber Thurman. Her name is Amber Thurman.
Amber Thurman. Thank you.
Hmm. Hmm.
Amber Thurman. You guys look up this story. I mean, I've heard Kamala Harris talking about it. You know, it's just disgusting. I've heard the news media talking about it, and they made that poor young woman's death about Donald Trump and an abortion ban that didn't exist. And so it's sick. I think it's
It's the
sick.
pandering. It's the pandering, Tony, because the fact that this happened 2 years ago, y'all didn't care about it 2 years ago.
Yeah,
So the
you didn't
fact
care
that
about that young black woman then. Go ahead.
no,
I'm
but you want
sorry.
to run and now to try to use that as a topic right now, as a talking point. That's disgusting, not only to us that's watching it, but to her family, that you did that's how you're going to pander now. You're going to say, you see, guys, if Donald Trump did, no, that's not right. This woman lost her life, and that's because, as I said, as I continue to say, reproductive health care should be about reproductive health care, about women dealing with PCOS, women dealing with fibroids, learning, getting tools that help women diagnose when you have
Mammograms and
adenomyosis.
breast
Yes.
cancer. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to be about, not ending the life of a baby. That's not what it's supposed to be about. And in the midst
Amen.
of it, you could end the life of the mother,
Of the
as we
mother.
just saw.
Right.
And
Right.
that's why I hate this branding of abortion
Hmm.
as reproductive rights. Just listen to the hypocrisy in it. You
Hmm.
know, listen, all I got to say, folks, um, please stop falling for the emotional rhetoric and the gaslighting, because that's what these people are doing. They're not telling you the truth. And I've been watching so many lies get thrown into this sea of information, while the same people who have been uh, putting the lies into the conversation somehow dictate what misinformation and malinformation and all this bullshit is. The people who are censoring you are also the same people who are lying to you. And when these people control your access to information, when they get to decide what is true and what is false, you will have no decisions to make on your own, because you just don't know what reality is. So we're coming up, we're 1 hour in. I want to thank my panel. I think this was a very insightful panel. I mean, I think it was very moving as well, the stories that I heard from you all. And I look forward to doing this again and again. So we're going to make this a regular thing on Tuesdays. So if you ever want to come up and you want to join the panel, if you want to, and as a matter of fact, let me put my information here so that people can find it. If you ever decide that you want to come up and you want to join us on a panel, you can follow. Wait, where's my TikTok thing? Here. You can follow me on TikTok at Tony_talks. Send me an inbox message. When you go to my profile there, you can also go right above it. Look at my profile, and there's a link to my link tree that has all the ways that you can get in contact with us. But make sure to join our Discord community. That's where, we're kind of protected from the censorship regime of the Biden-Harris administration. And the name of you can find me in the Discord community under We Need to Talk with Tony. All right. Go into the Discord community. It's We Need to Talk with Tony community. All right. That's where you'll find us. If you want to be a part of the show, you want to come in and share your stories, to talk about your red pill moment, please, we'd be happy to have you. This is what we do. It's all about open discourse, open dialogue, because we don't believe in censorship. We believe in protecting your First Amendment right, your Second Amendment right, all the 14th Amendment. It's so many so many freedoms that are being taken away from us under the guise of protection. And I just want us to not miss the forest for the trees. So once again, I want to thank my panel. You can follow all of them on their. How do I drop this thing down? How do I get rid of this thing? Hold on. There you go. That's their handles right there. You can follow all of them. Crystal, I think that's Crystal Beyond Labels. I think that's her handle on pretty much everything. You can follow Boricua on TikTok. That's his handle on there. 757 Bay. I know you're on TikTok as well. So please follow these people. They are brilliant, and join us in our community, because trust me, if you come into those lives, you're going to leave a hell of a lot smarter and probably very much motivated as well. It's very eye-opening. All right. So once again, folks, just remember, no matter how bad things get, no matter how stressed out you are, and no matter how impossible things may seem, or even how great they may seem, at the end of the day, nothing is going to change until we actually engage in conversations with each other. Get comfortable speaking to people that you don't like. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. All right. And until then, just always remember, folks, that we need to talk. Peace.